Homeless teen save his biker's daughter in the blizzard. What happened next will shock you. The blizzard hit Detroit like God's fist. December 18th, 2019. Temperature 15 below zero before the wind chill. 25 below with it. The kind of cold that kills. The kind of cold that makes people stay inside, lock their doors, pray for morning. Ren Ashford didn't pray. She stood in the Jefferson High parking lot, watching her breath freeze in the air, and felt something worse than cold settle into her bones. Fear, real fear, the kind that makes your stomach drop and your hands shake and your mind go completely, utterly blank. 30 minutes earlier, she'd been fine. Normal. Just another cheerleader at just another basketball game, doing just another routine. The crowd had roared. The team had won. Her friends had laughed about weekend plans, about winter formal, about boys and dress, and all the meaningless things that filled their meaningless lives. Ren had smiled, nodded, played her part. Sarah Reeves, the name on her school ID. Sarah Reeves, the girl nobody really knew. Sarah Reeves, who absolutely definitely was not the daughter of Declan Ashford, president of the Hells Angels Detroit chapter. 2 years of lies, 2 years of hiding, 2 years of pretending to be normal because her father wanted her to have what he never did. A childhood, a chance, a life outside the club. Griffin Carmichael had destroyed that in 30 minutes. The memory played in her head like a horror film. Griffin cornering her after the game, all charm and confidence and that smile that made other girls melt. Winter formal, next weekend. You and me, what do you say, Sarah? She'd said no, politely, firmly, the way her mother Iris had taught her, you don't owe men explanations, baby girl. No is a complete sentence. Griffin's smile had died. Something else had flickered in his eyes. Something cold, something mean. He'd stepped closer, invaded her space. His breath smelled like beer and entitlement. Come on, don't be like that. I said no, Griffin. You think you're too good for me. I think I'm not interested. That's when his friends had appeared. Garrett Stone, Brendan Cross, Cole Fisher, 3 hockey players, all seniors, all twice her size. They'd formed a circle around her. Casual, threatening. The parking lot was empty. Everyone else had gone home. The coaches were inside. The lights were dim. Griffin had grabbed her arm, not hard, not yet, but firm, possessive. You're going to regret this. She tried to pull away. He'd tightened his grip. His friends had laughed, and then they'd moved fast, coordinated like they'd planned this, like they'd done this before. Into Griffin's BM, doors locked, child safety locks engaged. Her phone in her hand, one desperate call to the emergency line her father made her memorize. 3 words before Griffin ripped it away. Daddy, Jefferson High, help. Then driving, not toward her aunt's house where she was supposed to be staying, toward the back lot. The old one behind the condemned gymnasium. The one nobody used anymore. Griffin had turned around in the driver's seat, that smile again. Colder now, crueler. Here's what's going to happen, Sarah. You're going to sit out here and think about your attitude. When you're ready to say yes like a good girl, you come find me at Garrett's party, 5 blocks east. It's 15 below. His smile widened. Then I guess you better decide fast. They dragged her out. She'd fought, screamed. No one heard. No one came. Brendan had thrown her phone into a snowbank 20 feet away. Cole had hurled her keys in the opposite direction. Garrett had laughed, actually laughed, as she hit the ice. The BMW had roared away, taillights swallowed by white, and Ren Ashford, 15 years old daughter of the most feared man in Detroit, had been left to freeze. Now she stood in the empty lot, wine tearing through her cheerleading uniform like it wasn't even there. The cold was beyond anything she'd experienced, beyond pain, beyond thought. It moved through her skin, her muscles, her bones, turning everything to ice from the inside out. Move. Her father's voice in her head. Movement is life. Stop moving. Start dying. She forced her legs forward. 1 step. 2. Her feet were numb. Her hands were numb. The snowbank where Brendan had thrown her phone, she had to find it. Had to call her father back. Had to tell him exactly where she was. 10 steps. 20. She fell. Got up. Fell again. The snow was knee-deep, heavy, impossible. Her fingers dug through it, searching, desperate. Nothing. Just cold and white and endless. Nothing. She tried the other direction, looking for her keys. Maybe she could get into the gym, break a window, find shelter, something, anything. But her body was betraying her, shutting down. The shivering that had racked her for the first 10 minutes was gone now. That was bad. She knew that was bad. Nursing class was Sawbones last summer. Hypothermia stages. When you stop shivering, your core temperature is critical. Organs failing, heart slowing, death coming. She collapsed against the gym doors, metal, frozen, locked. Her vision blurred, her thoughts scattered. Time became meaningless. Seconds, minutes, hours, all the same. This is it. The thought came calm, clear. This is how I die. Frozen in a parking lot because some boy couldn't handle rejection. Her father would burn the city down when he found her body. That was something. That was justice. Griffin Carmichael would learn what it meant to hurt a daughter of the Hells Angels. Wren closed her eyes. The cold didn't feel so bad anymore. Almost warm, almost peaceful. That's when she heard footsteps. Callum Thorne heard the scream from the science wing. He stopped mopping. Bucket in one hand, mop in the other, industrial cleaner smell burning his nose like it had for the past 6 months. The school was supposed to be empty. Game ended an hour ago. Coaches left 30 minutes back. Just him and the night custodian, supervisor. And that guy was passed out in the break room like he was every shift. Wind. Had to be wind. The storm was getting worse. Radio said worst blizzard in 5 years. Wind chill 25 below. Dangerous. Deadly. The scream came again. Faint. Female. Desperate. Cal's grip tightened on the mop handle. Everything in his 17-year-old body told him to ignore it. To keep mopping, to finish his shift walk the 5 miles back to the abandoned laundromat on Woodward where he'd been sleeping for the past 8 months and survive another night. Getting involved meant attention. Attention meant questions. Questions meant social services. Social services meant foster care. And foster care meant hell. He'd been through 4 homes after his grandmother died. 4 homes in 8 months. Each one worse than the last. The first family had locked him in the basement for forgetting to do dishes. The second had stolen his grandmother's coat, the only thing he had left of her, and he'd had to steal it back. The third had a son who liked to use younger kids as punching bags. The fourth had a father who liked to use everyone for worse. Cal had run, chosen the streets over the system, chosen hunger and cold and fear over hands that hurt and words that destroyed. For 8 months he'd been invisible. A ghost, exactly what he needed to be to survive. But his grandmother's voice cut through all of that, clear as if she was standing right next to him, cancer gone lungs whole, smile warm. Be good, baby. The world's going to be hard on you. Don't let it make you hard back. Eleanor Thorne had been the kindest person Cal had ever known. She'd raised him after his mother died when he was 6, worked 3 jobs to keep them fed, taught him to fix things, to read, to think, to care. When the cancer came, she'd fought it for 2 years. Lost. Died owing $40,000 in medical bills because some insurance company decided her treatment was experimental. Cal had been 16, a lone mom, invisible. He'd promised her in those final moments that he'd stay good, that he'd be the man she raised him to be, that he wouldn't let the world turn him cold. The scream came a third time, weaker now, fading. Cal dropped the mop, ran. The back lot was a nightmare, snow 3 feet deep in places, wind so strong it nearly knocked him over. Visibility maybe 10 feet. He followed the sound, ragged breathing, someone crying, life slipping away. He found her against the gym doors. Cheerleading uniform, blue lips, gray skin, not shivering, late-stage hypothermia. He'd learned that in health class back when he still went to school regularly. When the body stops shivering, core temperature is critical. Death is minutes away. He dropped to his knees beside her. Hey, look at me. Her eyes opened. Barely. Pupils dilated, confused. Help. The word was a whisper, a prayer. Cal was already unzipping his jacket, the coat his grandmother had given him 3 years ago. Brown leather cracked and worn patches sewn on by her hands. A zipper that stuck halfway, like it always did, had to work it free, pull hard there. The cold hit his t-shirt like a physical blow. Wind tearing through the thin fabric. His body started shaking immediately. He wrapped the coat around her shoulders. pulled it tight, tucked the edges around her legs. She tried pushing it back. No, you'll die. You're dying faster. I can't take your coat. You're not taking it. I'm giving it. He pulled the coat tighter around her. His body was shaking violently now. The cold moved through him, turning his blood to ice, his muscles to stone. This was how he'd die. He knew it, giving away the only thing keeping him alive. But she needed it more. Simple math, simple choice. She'd been out here longer. Her core temperature was lower. She'd die first. He'd die slower. Maybe slow enough for help to come. You called someone, right? Her teeth chattered. My father, 15 minutes. Then hold on, 15 minutes. He rubbed her arms, trying to create friction, heat, anything. His own hands were going numb. His thoughts were starting to scatter. The shaking was getting worse. What's your name, Hannah? The wrong name came out, not Sarah. Hannah, her real name, the one only family knew. Cal. He didn't bother with the last name. If he died here, it didn't matter. Stay awake, Hannah. Talk to me. So cold, I know. Fight it. 15 minutes is nothing. Her eyes focused on him. Really looked. Past the cold. Past the fear. I know you. The janitor kid. You sit alone at lunch. That's me. Why are you doing this? Because you needed it more. You'll die out there. Maybe. The word came honest. True, that's stupid. My grandmother said the same thing. Said I had too much heart. Not enough sense. A ghost of a smile. She sounds smart. She's dead. 8 months. Cancer. Hannah's face crumpled. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Just stay alive. That's how you thank me. Engines, distant but getting closer, cutting through the storm. Multiple engines, big engines, motorcycles. Hannah's head lifted. That's him. Good. You're going to be okay. Cal stood, his legs shook. The cold was already in his bones. Deep, deadly. He'd given away his survival for a stranger. For a girl whose last name he didn't know. Whose face he'd barely seen in the dark. His grandmother would have understood. Would have approved. Would have done the same thing. Wait, Hannah grabbed his arm. Don't go. My father will help you. Please, I've got a place nearby. I'll be fine. You're lying, he was. Someone will notice you soon. I need to disappear. At least your name. Your full name. Callum Thorne. Headlights cut through the whiteout. Multiple headlights. Bright. Close. The engine thunder got louder. Closer. Death machines roaring through the storm. Please. Hannah's voice broke. Please wait. But Cal was already backing away. Into the storm. Into the white. Into the cold that would kill him. He heard her calling his name. Heard men's voices. Heard the motorcycles dying. Heard someone say, baby girl, and where is he, and find him. But Cal was gone. Moving, one foot in front of the other, away from attention, away from questions, away from the girl he'd just saved. The cold was worse now, so much worse. Without the cut, without the barrier between his skin and the wind, hypothermia set in fast. 5 minutes. 10. His thoughts blurred. His vision darkened. His body stopped obeying commands. 1 mile. That's as far as he got. His legs quit. Just stopped working. Buckled. Dropped him face first into a snowbank. He tried to get up. Couldn't. Tried to crawl. Made it maybe 50 feet. His arms gave out. His face hit snow, cold, white, endless. His grandmother's words echoed one last time. Stay kind, even when it costs everything. Darkness swallowed him whole. Declan Ashford broke every traffic law between the clubhouse and Jefferson High. 6 brothers rode behind him. Flint Sawbones grit, Shade Rook and Axel, engines screaming against the storm. Leather cuts whipping in the wind. No helmets, no safety, just speed and fury and fear. 15 minutes. He'd promised his daughter 15 minutes. He made it in 12. The back lot appeared through the whiteout, a figure against the gym doors, small, still, wrapped in something brown. Declan was off his bike before it stopped. Wren, her eyes open. Daddy. He lifted her. Light. Too light. Her skin was gray. Her lips were blue. She wasn't shivering. You came. I always come. Who did this to you? She told him. Every detail. Griffin Carmichael. 3 others. Left her here. The coat wasn't hers. A boy gave it to her, walked away, saved her life. Declan looked at the coat. Old, worn, loved, patches sewn by hand, a zipper that looked like it barely worked. This wasn't something you gave away lightly. This was survival gear. This was everything. Who said his name was Callum Thorne? Works here. Janitor. Homeless, I think. Wren's voice was fading. Her eyes were closing. Daddy, he walked into the storm with nothing. He's dying out there right now because he saved me. Sawbones appeared at Declan's shoulder, medic bag already open. One look at Wren and his jaw went tight. Severe hypothermia. We move now or we lose her. Declan looked at his brothers. Flint, you're the fastest rider. Get her to the hospital. Now, Sawbones, you go with her. Everyone else we're hunting. Callum Thorne. Find him before the cold does. What about Carmichael? Shade's voice was ice. Carmichael can wait. The kid who saved my daughter can't. They split into the storm. Declan took north, the direction Wren had pointed. The direction where a 17-year-old boy had walked to his death wearing nothing but a t-shirt. 1 mile out, footprints, staggering, filling with snow. Another mile, a trench, someone crawling. Another half mile, a body, face down, thin shirt, motionless. Declan rolled him over. Young, 17 maybe, too skinny, the kind of skinny that came from missed meals, from poverty, from survival, gray skin, purple lips, barely a heartbeat. He keyed his radio, found him, 2 miles northwest. Critical. Flint's voice crackled back. Hospital's got Wren. Sawbones says another 10 minutes and she'd have had brain damage. Maybe worse. Declan looked at the boy in his arms. 10 more minutes. The coat had bought exactly 10 minutes. The difference between life and death. Between his daughter coming home and his daughter dying in a parking lot. This kid, this stranger, had given that away, had chosen death over letting someone else die. Get Grit here with the truck. Now. Declan stripped off his jacket, his vest, everything he could spare, wrapped the boy tight, pulled him close. Body heat. Only chance. Don't you die. You hear me? Don't you dare die. The boy's eyes fluttered, barely conscious, barely there, cold. The word was a breath. I know, you're going to make it. You saved my daughter. I'm not letting you die. He held the boy, rocked him, kept him warm. Grit's truck arrived. They loaded him in. Heater full blast. Blankets, hot water bottles, everything. The ride to the hospital felt like hours. Declan stayed in the back, holding the boy, keeping him alive through sheer force of will. The emergency room doctors swarmed. Hypothermia, critical, core temperature 28 degrees, cardiac arrest imminent. They worked for an hour. Warming blankets, IV fluids, heated oxygen. Slowly, the boy's temperature rose. His heart steadied, his breathing evened. He'd live. Barely, but he'd live. Declan sat in the waiting room, hands shaking. Not from cold, from realization. A homeless 17-year-old had given everything to save a stranger, had walked into a blizzard knowing it would kill him, because someone needed help. When was the last time Declan had met someone like that? Someone genuinely, completely good? Never. The answer was never. Flint appeared in the doorway. Wren's stable. Sawbones got her core temp up. She's sleeping now, asking for the boy. He's alive. Good. Flint sat. Because we've got a problem. Griffin Carmichael. That's the start. His father is Senator Roland Carmichael, and Roland Carmichael has history with us. What kind of history? The kind that killed Connor. Declan's blood went cold. His brother, dead 20 years. Brake lines cut. Crash staged. Case closed by a DA who got promoted to senator. A DA named Roland Carmichael. You're sure? Rook pulled the files. Same case. Same signature. Same man. Then Griffin didn't pick Wren randomly. No, this was a message. From a man who thought he was untouchable. Declan stood. Where's Wren's phone? Destroyed. Griffin took it. Security cameras. Rook's already on it. Jefferson High has them. We'll have the footage by morning. Get it. Get everything. Text messages, witnesses, evidence. I want Griffin Carmichael's life destroyed piece by piece, and the senator him too. But careful. He's got power. He's got connections. This needs to be airtight. What about him? He saved your daughter. He's homeless. He's got nobody. What are we doing with him? Declan thought about it. About the coat, about the sacrifice, about the kind of person who'd choose death over letting a stranger die. We give him a choice. He can walk away, back to whatever life he had, or he can stay with us. The club's not going to like that. Flint's voice was careful, neutral, bringing in a stray with no vetting, no history, right before a war with a senator. That's dangerous, I know, but I owe him. We owe him, and I don't leave debts unpaid. 3 days, that's how long Cal was out. Darkness and fragments, warmth after endless cold. Voices he didn't recognize. A woman's hand on his forehead, gentle like his grandmother's. When he finally woke, he was in a bed. Real sheets, real blanket, a room with motorcycle posters on the walls. He tried sitting up. Everything hurt. Every muscle, every bone, like he'd been hit by a truck. Easy. A man's voice, deep, rough. You've been out 3 days. Cal turned his head. The man in the chair was maybe 50, silver-streaked hair pulled back, face like carved stone, tattoos everywhere, a leather vest covered in patches. But his eyes were what made Cal go still. Cold, calculating, seeing everything. Where am I safe? Warm. Who are you, Declan? Most people call me Havoc. The name meant nothing. The leather vest did. Hell's Angels. Michigan chapter. Cal had seen those vests before, knew what they meant. Power, danger, family. You gave my daughter your coat. The storm, the girl, the jacket. It came flooding back. Hannah, is she okay? She's fine, because of you. Something shifted in Havoc's voice. Real emotion. Raw. Doctor said 10 more minutes and she'd have had permanent brain damage. Maybe worse. You saved her. She needed it more than me. That jacket was everything you had. It was my grandmother's. She gave it to me before she died, and you gave it to a stranger. Hannah was dying. It wasn't complicated. Havoc studied him, a long, searching look that seemed to see past every wall Cal had ever built. Most people would have walked past, told themselves they had their own problems. I'm not most people. No. Havoc stood. You're not. He walked toward the door. Wait. Cal pushed himself up. I can't stay. I have to go back. Back to what Havoc turned. An abandoned laundromat. A sleeping bag on concrete. Frozen water bottles in your pockets. Cal went cold. How do you know that I know everything, Callum Thorne? Mother died when you were 6. Grandmother raised you until cancer took her 8 months ago. You've been surviving alone ever since. Invisible. Off the grid. Doing whatever it took. Havoc's voice stayed flat. No judgment. Just facts. Social services lost you because you got good at disappearing. You had every reason to save yourself that night. Let my daughter die. But you didn't. So what? Cal's voice came out harder than he meant. You turning me in? No. Then what do you want? Havoc was quiet for a moment. A choice. You can walk out right now. Back to the laundromat. Back to being invisible. Nobody stops you. Or you stay. 3 meals a day. A real bed. Finish school. Find something you haven't had in a long time. What's that family? He left. Cal stared at the ceiling. His grandmother's voice echoed. Soft, clear. Whatever happens, you be good. For the first time in 8 months, Cal let himself consider it. What if he stayed? What if he trusted these people? What if family was possible again? What if it all fell apart like every other good thing in his life? But lying there warm and fed and safe, Cal made a decision. He'd give it a week. 7 days. If it felt wrong, he'd leave. 7 days. He could do 7 days. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in 8 months, Callum Thorne slept without fear. Wren woke in a hospital bed. White walls, beeping machines. Her father asleep in a chair beside her, head tilted back, mouth open, looking more human than she'd ever seen him. She remembered. The cold, the dying, the stranger with the coat. Callum Thorne. Where is he? Havoc jerked awake. Baby girl, you're up, the boy. Callum, is he alive? He's alive. At the clubhouse, sleeping. Relief flooded through her. He made it, barely. Core temperature was critical. Another hour and we'd have lost him. Wren felt tears burn her eyes. He gave me everything. His grandmother's coat. His only protection. He walked into that storm knowing he'd die. I know. Why she looked at her father. Why would someone do that? Because some people are good, baby girl. Really, truly good. Not because they want something. Not because they expect something back. Just because that's who they are. Havoc reached over. Took her hand. That boy saved your life. Gave away his only chance at survival for a stranger. You know what that means? What it means we owe him. Not money, not a favor, a debt. The kind you never forget. The kind you spend your life repaying. Wren thought about that. About Callum Thorne. About the coat wrapped around her. About the sacrifice. I want to talk to him. You will when you're both stronger. What about Griffin? Her father's expression went cold. Dangerous. Griffin Carmichael is handled. Handled how Havoc smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Let me worry about that. You focus on getting better. But Wren's mind was already working. Already remembering details. Griffin's face. His friends. The way they'd coordinated like they'd done it before. The cruelty in his eyes. He tried to kill me, I know. Because I said no to winter formal, I know. And you're going to destroy him. Not just him. Havoc leaned forward, his father too. Senator Roland Carmichael. The man who closed your Uncle Connor's case without investigation. The man who's gotten away with murder for 20 years. Wren's breath caught. Uncle Connor. The uncle she'd never met. Dead before she was born. Motorcycle accident, her father always said. Just an accident. It wasn't an accident, was it? No. Brake lines were cut. Witnesses ignored. Evidence buried. By a DA who had everything to gain from Connor dying. Why? Because Connor saw something he shouldn't have. Testified against the wrong people. Made enemies with power. Havoc's voice went quiet. Sad. I couldn't protect my brother. But I'll protect my daughter. Griffin Carmichael and his father are going to learn what it means to hurt my family. Wren felt something shift inside her. Something change. She'd been protected her whole life. Sheltered. Hidden behind fake names and normal schools and the illusion of safety. But protection hadn't saved her in that parking lot. A stranger had. A homeless 17-year-old who had nothing and gave everything. What if I want to help? Help how? Destroy them. Bring them down. Make sure they never hurt anyone again. Havoc studied her. This isn't your fight, baby girl. Yes, it is. Wren sat up. Her body ached. Her head pounded. But her mind was clear. Clearer than it had been in years. He tried to kill me. And you're telling me his father killed Uncle Connor. That makes this my fight. You're 15. I'm a daughter of the Hells Angels. That means something, doesn't it? Her father smiled, sad and proud at the same time. Yeah, it means something. Then teach me. Show me how to fight. Not with fists, with evidence, with strategy, with the law. Why the law? Because Callum Thorne showed me something. You don't fight monsters by becoming one. You fight them by being better, by being good even when it costs everything. Havoc was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was thick. Your mother would be proud of you. Is she so proud she's probably already planning your law school applications? Wren laughed. It hurt, but it felt good, real. Can I see him, Callum, tomorrow, when you're both stronger? Havoc stood. Rest now. We've got a long fight ahead. He left. Wren stared at the ceiling, thinking, planning, realizing. She'd almost died tonight, would have died without Callum Thorne, without his sacrifice, without his choice to be good. Now she had a choice. Stay hidden, stay safe. Let her father handle everything like he always did. Or step up, step forward, become someone who deserved that sacrifice, someone who made it matter. Wren Ashford closed her eyes and made a decision. She wouldn't waste the life Callum Thorne had saved. She'd use it, build something, fight for something, and starting with destroying Griffin Carmichael and his father. And she'd do it the right way, the good way, the way that would make a homeless kid with too much heart proud. Outside her window, the storm finally broke. Stars appeared. And in that moment, everything changed for Callum Thorne, for Ren Ashford, for the Hells Angels, for Detroit. One coat, one choice, one sacrifice. The ripples were just beginning. Late that night, while Cal slept and Ren recovered, Ren's door opened quietly. A figure slipped inside. Not Havoc, not Iris. Rook. The club's intelligence officer was thin, watchful, with eyes that missed nothing. He moved like a shadow, silent and precise. Ren had met him twice before. Both times he'd unsettled her. Not because he was threatening, because he knew things he shouldn't. You're awake. What are you doing here? Rook pulled a folder from inside his jacket, set it on the table beside her bed. Your father doesn't know I'm here. Neither does anyone else. But I thought you should see this, see what the connection between what happened to you and what happened to Connor. Ren sat up straighter, despite the pain, despite the exhaustion. What connection? Rook opened the folder. Photos, documents, police reports from 20 years ago. Connor Ashford, your uncle, died in 1999. Brake lines cut, staged to look like an accident. The investigating officer noted the cut lines, flagged it for homicide investigation, but the district attorney closed the case anyway, ruled it accidental, sealed the file. He pulled out another document, a signature at the bottom. That DA was Roland Carmichael, Griffin's father. Ren's stomach dropped. Why would he do that? Because Connor witnessed something. 3 weeks before he died, Connor testified in a federal case. Organized crime, cartel money flowing through Detroit. He saw a public official taking bribes. Testified in secret, thought he was protected. And the official was Carmichael. Rook nodded. Connor's testimony should have destroyed Carmichael's career. Instead, Connor died. The testimony disappeared. Carmichael got promoted, became a senator, built an empire on corruption. Why are you telling me this? Because you asked your father what happened. And he'll tell you eventually. But I wanted you to know the whole truth first. Rook leaned closer, his voice dropped. Serious now, urgent. Griffin didn't choose you randomly. His father knew who you were. Knew you were Havoc's daughter. This was a message, a warning. Stay away from the past or lose what matters most. But they failed. Ren's voice came out stronger than she felt. I'm alive, and now I know the truth. Now you know part of the truth. Rook closed the folder. There's more. Financial records, witness statements, evidence that Carmichael's been corrupt for decades. I've been collecting it for years, waiting for the right moment. Why wait? Because taking down a senator requires more than evidence. It requires someone clean, someone with no criminal record, someone the system will believe. He looked at her, really looked, assessing. You're 15, daughter of a Hells Angels president. Nobody's going to take you seriously as a witness, not yet, but they will. Ren understood immediately. When I'm older, when I'm educated, when I'm someone they can't dismiss. Exactly. Rook stood. This folder is yours. Study it. Learn it. When you're ready, we'll build the case that destroys Roland Carmichael. How long? However long it takes. He moved toward the door. Stopped. One more thing. The boy. Callum. He's good. Really good. Havoc sees it. I see it. But Flint's suspicious. Some of the others too. They think it's too convenient. A stray showing up right before war with a senator. They think he's a plant. Maybe, or maybe they're just careful. Either way, watch out for him. He saved your life. Make sure the club doesn't destroy his. Rook left, silent as he'd come. Ren opened the folder, spent the next hour reading. Every detail, every piece of evidence, every connection between her uncle's death and the senator's rise to power. By the time she finished, the sun was rising, and Ren Ashford had a mission that would consume the next 3 years of her life. Justice for Connor, justice for Callum's grandmother, justice for everyone Roland Carmichael had destroyed. And she'd do it the right way, through law, through evidence, through a system that Carmichael thought he owned. She was 15 years old, too young to vote, too young to prosecute, too young for anyone to take seriously. But she had time, and she had purpose, and she had the truth. That was enough, for now. Cal woke to the smell of bacon, real bacon. Not the processed garbage from gas station hot dogs or the scraps he'd found in dumpsters behind restaurants. The kind that crackled in a pan, filled a room, made your mouth water, before your brain even registered consciousness. He lay still, convinced this was a dream. Had to be. 8 months of hunger didn't prepare you for waking up to breakfast. You planning to sleep all day, or you planning to eat? A woman stood in the doorway, heavy set, maybe 50, with silver-streaked auburn hair pulled into a practical bun. Her eyes were sharp but warm, assessing but kind. She wore an apron over jeans and a Hells Angels t-shirt. "I'm Iris, Havoc's wife. You've been asleep 14 hours. Figured you'd be hungry." Cal's stomach answered before he could. A growl so loud, it echoed off the walls. Iris smiled. "That's what I thought. Bathroom's down the hall. Clean clothes on the chair. You got 10 minutes before the eggs get cold." She left. Cal sat up slowly. His body still ached, deep muscle pain from the hypothermia, but the bone-deep cold was gone. He looked around the room again. Real. This was real. Not a shelter, not a foster home, something else entirely. The clothes on the chair were simple. Jeans that looked close to his size. A thermal shirt. Thick socks. Nothing fancy but clean, warm. He dressed quickly, found the bathroom, splashed water on his face. The mirror showed someone he barely recognized. Gaunt cheeks, dark circles, the haunted look of someone who'd been running too long. His grandmother would have cried. 10 minutes later, Cal sat at a kitchen table covered in food. Bacon, eggs, toast, hash browns, orange juice. More food than he'd seen in months. His hands shook, reaching for the fork. Eat. Don't talk. Just eat. Iris sat across from him, watching, not judging, just present. He didn't need to be told twice. 3 plates later, Cal finally slowed down. His stomach hurt. Too much food, too fast. But God, it was worth it. When's the last time you had a real meal? Thanksgiving. School cafeteria served turkey before break. That was 7 weeks ago. I had stuff. Crackers, canned soup. I wasn't starving. Boy, you weigh maybe 130 soaking wet. You were absolutely starving. Iris's voice softened, changed. Nobody's going to take this food away from you. Nobody's going to make you earn it. You eat when you're hungry. You sleep when you're tired. That's how things work here. Why what? Why are you being nice to me? Iris leaned back. Studied him the way Havoc had, like she could see through walls, through time. You gave my husband's daughter your coat, the only thing keeping you alive. You did that without knowing who she was, without expecting anything back. That tells me everything I need to know about you. It tells you I'm stupid. It tells me you are good. There's a difference. She stood, started clearing plates. Havoc wants to see you when you're done. His office is down the hall, last door on the left. Don't keep him waiting. Cal found the office 5 minutes later. Door open. Havoc sat behind a desk covered in papers, reading something on his phone. He looked up when Cal knocked. Sit, Cal sat. You sleep okay? Yes, sir. Don't call me sir. Makes me feel old. Havoc set his phone down. You made a decision yet? About staying, trusting, letting people help you. I said I'd give it a week. Fair enough. Havoc leaned back. But while you're here, you're going to work. We're not running a charity. You want to eat, you earn it. Doing what? Whatever needs doing. Dishes, laundry, yard work. Eventually, if you stick around, garage work with grit. He says you've got a feel for engines. How would he know that? We asked around. Your old janitor supervisor said you fixed the floor buffer twice. School maintenance guy said you kept the boiler running all last winter when it should have died. Cal said nothing. He had fixed those things, learned from YouTube videos and trial and error, but he'd thought nobody noticed. Point is, you've got skills. We can use skills, but you've got to earn your place here. Same as everyone. I can do that. Good. Havoc stood. One more thing. What Ren wants to see you, my daughter, the girl you saved. She's been asking about you since she woke up. I don't need thanks. Tough. You're getting it anyway. The hospital was 20 minutes away by motorcycle. Cal rode on the back of Havoc's bike, holding on for dear life as they wove through traffic. The cold air bit at his face, but nothing like the blizzard. Nothing like dying. Ren was sitting up in bed when they arrived. Color back in her cheeks, eyes bright, alive. She looked nothing like the dying girl in the snow. You're awake. Cal stood awkwardly in the doorway. Yeah, how do you feel? Better. Your mom's a good cook. She's not my Ren stopped, smiled. Yeah, Iris is amazing. Silence stretched between them. Uncomfortable. Loaded. I wanted to thank you for what you did, for the coat, for staying with me until my dad came. You already thanked me in the parking lot. That doesn't count. I was dying. I barely remember it. She leaned forward. Serious now. You saved my life, Callum. You gave away your only coat in 15 below weather. You could have died. But I didn't, because my dad found you. If he'd been 5 minutes later. But he wasn't. Ren made a frustrated sound. Why do you do that? Do what? Brush it off like it's nothing. Like you didn't almost die for a complete stranger. Cal shrugged. It's done. You're alive. I'm alive. What's the point of talking about it? The point is, I want to understand. Ren's voice cracked, emotion breaking through. I want to understand why. You were nobody to me, just some janitor kid from my school. You had no reason to help me. You had every reason to walk past. You needed help. That's not enough. That's not a reason. People walk past homeless people every day. They walk past car accidents. They walk past people getting hurt because it's not their problem. Ren's eyes were wet now. Why didn't you walk past me? Cal looked away. Out the window, gray winter sky, bare trees, nothing beautiful, nothing special. My grandmother used to tell me this story about when she was young. She was waiting for a bus in winter. Some guy collapsed on the sidewalk. Heart attack. Everyone walked past because they didn't want to get involved, didn't want to be late for work, didn't want to deal with someone else's problem. He paused. The memory clear as yesterday. My grandmother stopped, called for help, stayed with him until the ambulance came. He survived. Turned out he was a teacher, had 3 kids, 30 years of students who would have lost him if she'd just walked past. What happened to her? She missed her bus, got fired from her job for being late, had to start over from nothing. Cal finally looked at Ren. She never regretted it, said she'd do it again every single time, said being good wasn't about what you got back. It was about who you wanted to be. Ren wiped her eyes. She sounds amazing. She was. I'm sorry you lost her. Me too. Havoc cleared his throat from the doorway. Cal had forgotten he was there. We should go. Let Ren rest. Wait. Ren reached into the drawer beside her, pulled out something folded, a small piece of fabric. Dad has your jacket, your grandmother's jacket, in his office. He wants to preserve it. But I had Iris save this. She unfolded the fabric. A patch from the coat's lining, faded blue with tiny white flowers. The inside lining was still good. I thought maybe you'd want a piece of it, something to keep. Cal took the patch. His grandmother had sewn that lining herself back when the jacket was his grandfather's. She'd said the flowers reminded her of the garden they'd had when she was a girl. His throat closed up. Thank you, it's not enough. It'll never be enough. But it's something. Cal tucked the patch into his pocket, close to his heart. It's everything. 18 months. That's how long it took Cal to transform from a stray into a prospect. From someone they tolerated to someone they tested. From an outsider to someone who might maybe possibly belong. The work was brutal, endless, designed to break weak men and forge strong ones. Cal cleaned toilets at 3 in the morning, washed motorcycles in freezing rain, ran errands across the city on foot when the club needed supplies, cooked meals for 20 men, served them, cleaned up after them, and never complained. He learned quickly. Keep your mouth shut. Do what you're told. Never ask why. Show up early. Stay late. Prove yourself through action, not words. The club members tested him constantly. Flint, especially. The sergeant-at-arms watched Cal like a hawk, waiting for mistakes, waiting for weakness, waiting for proof that letting this stray in had been a mistake. You think you're tough, kid? Flint appeared in the garage one afternoon. Cal was elbow deep in an engine, changing oil on Shade's bike. I think I'm doing what needs doing. Everyone works hard for a few weeks, then they get comfortable. Then they get lazy. You going to get lazy, Phoenix? The nickname had stuck, started as mockery. Phoenix, the bird that rises from ashes. Phoenix, the kid who should have died but didn't. But slowly over months it became something else, something real. No, sir. We'll see. But Flint didn't leave. He stood there, watching. When Cal finished the oil change, checked the filter, tested the compression. Flint grunted. You know bikes. My grandmother had an old Chevy. Taught me engines before she got sick. Grit says you've got a feel for it. Says machines talk to you. Cal shrugged. They make sense. More sense than people. Flint almost smiled. Almost. You might be all right, kid. Might be. The garage became Cal's sanctuary. Grit, the club mechanic, was 60-something, with grease permanently embedded in his fingerprints, and a laugh that shook his whole body. He taught Cal everything. How to read an engine by sound. How to diagnose problems by touch. How to fix things other people said were beyond repair. Kids got the gift, Grit told Havoc one day. Cal was supposed to be outside, but he heard through the open window. Most people learn mechanics. He understands it. Big difference. He's still a prospect. For now. But I'm telling you, Havoc, that boy's got something special. He sees things others miss, feels things others ignore. Give him 2 years, he'll be the best mechanic in Detroit. Cal had smiled at that. Rare, real, a glimpse of something he'd thought died with his grandmother. Pride, purpose, belonging. School was harder. Cal had dropped out months ago. Too much moving between foster homes. Too much survival taking priority over education. But Havoc insisted, get your GED. No arguments, no excuses. So Cal studied. Late nights at the kitchen table, Wren across from him with her own homework, Iris refilling coffee and bringing snacks, and telling them both to take breaks before their brains melted. Wren helped him, patiently, carefully, never making him feel stupid for not knowing things. She'd explain algebra 3 different ways until it clicked. Read his essays and offer suggestions without judgment. Quiz him on history dates and science terms until he could recite them in his sleep. Why are you helping me? Because you saved my life. This is the least I can do. You don't owe me. Yes, I do. Wren looked up from her textbook. And not just because of the coat, because you showed me what good looks like, what sacrifice means. I'm trying to be worth that. You already are. So are you. That's why I'm helping you see it. 8 months in Cal, took the GED exam, passed, not just passed, aced it. Top 5% in the state. Havoc had smiled when Cal showed him the scores. Rare, real, the kind of smile a father gives a son. Proud of you, kid. 3 words, but they meant everything. While Cal was earning his place in the club, Wren was building her case against the Carmichaels. It started small, research, late nights in Havoc's office when he thought she was sleeping. Old newspaper articles about Uncle Connor's death, police reports her father had saved, witness statements that were never followed up on. The brake line had been cut, professionally, not an accident, not wear and tear. Someone had deliberately severed it, knowing Connor would crash the next time he hit the brakes at high speed. The investigating officer had noted it, flagged it for further investigation, but the district attorney had closed the case anyway, ruled it accidental, sealed the file. That DA was Roland Carmichael, Griffin's father, now Senator Carmichael. Powerful, connected, untouchable. But Wren was Havoc's daughter, and Havoc had taught her one thing above all others. Nobody was untouchable. Everyone had weaknesses. You just had to find them. She started with Connor's friends, people who'd known him, ridden with him, witnessed what happened in the days before his death. Most were dead now, killed in club wars or accidents or just old age. But 3 were still alive, still in Detroit, still remembering. The first one, Marcus Ghost Riley, ran a tattoo shop in Midtown. Wren walked in on a Saturday afternoon, 16 years old, carrying her father's leather cut over her arm like a shield. Ghost had looked up from inking someone's shoulder, seen the cut, gone pale. You're Havoc's girl. I am. He doesn't know you're here. No, and he won't, unless you tell him. Ghost had put down his tattoo gun, told his client to take 5, led Wren to a back room. What do you want the truth about Uncle Connor? That was 20 years ago, I know. I want to know what really happened. Ghost had studied her, the same way everyone in the club studied people, looking for lies, for weakness, for angles. Your uncle saw something he shouldn't have. Carmichael taking money from the cartel, bags of cash. Connor was doing a run making a delivery. Wrong place, wrong time. He saw it. Carmichael saw him see it. And Connor went to the cops, testified in secret, thought he was protected. But Carmichael found out. 6 months later, Connor's brake line got cut. Did you tell the police I tried? They wouldn't listen, said I was biased, said club members lie to protect their own. The DA closed the case, and that was that. The DA was Carmichael, yeah. The man killed his accuser and got away with it. Wren had left that meeting with fire in her chest. Connor hadn't just died, he'd been murdered for trying to do the right thing, and the killer had risen to power on the back of that crime. The second witness, Patricia Raven Cole, ran a legal aid clinic in Corktown. She'd been Connor's girlfriend, had left the club life after he died but never forgotten. Raven had cried when Wren told her why she was there. After 20 years, someone cared enough to ask questions, to seek justice. Connor was the best man I ever knew. Raven's voice shook. He wasn't perfect. None of us are. But he was honest. When he saw Carmichael taking cartel money, he knew it was wrong, knew he had to report it, and it got him killed. Yes, and I've lived with that guilt every day since. If he'd just kept his mouth shut, if he'd just walked away, he'd still be alive. Or Carmichael would have hurt more people. You can't blame yourself for his courage. I blame Carmichael. I blame the system that protected him. I blame everyone who knew and did nothing. Raven leaned forward. Urgent now. Your father tried to get justice. Havoc pushed for investigation, for reopening the case. But Carmichael had too much power, too many connections. He buried it, and your father had to let it go or risk the whole club. But I don't have to let it go. No, you don't. Raven smiled through tears. You're young, you're smart, you're clean, no criminal record, no gang ties on paper. You could do what your father couldn't. How? By learning the system, by becoming what Carmichael is, a lawyer, a prosecutor, someone with power. I'm 16. Then you've got time. Get educated, get trained, build the case brick by brick, and when you're ready, take him down. Wren had left that meeting with a plan, law school, not just as a career, as a weapon. The third witness had refused to meet, sent a message through Rook instead. I've got a family, kids. Carmichael's still got reach. I can't help you. I'm sorry. Wren understood. Fear was powerful. The senator had spent 20 years building his armor, making examples of people who crossed him, creating a reputation for being untouchable. But fear worked both ways, and Wren was about to teach him that. Rook became her partner in investigation, the club's intelligence officer. Thin, watchful, unsettling in the way he seemed to know things before they happened. He taught Wren digital forensics, how to find information people thought they had erased, how to track money through shell companies and offshore accounts, how to build a case that would hold up in court. You're good at this, he told her one night, 6 months into their partnership. Wren was 16, already accepted to Michigan law with a deferred enrollment, at what's seeing patterns, making connections. Most people look at evidence and see chaos. You see the story underneath. I learned from the best. Rook smiled. Rare, dangerous. Your father's going to be proud. When he finds out what you've been doing, is he going to be mad? I kept it secret? Probably. But proud's going to win out. Together they built the case against Carmichael. Not just for Connor's murder, for everything. A pattern spanning 20 years. 3 other accidents involving people who'd crossed the senator. Financial irregularities in his campaign funds. Shell companies receiving cartel money. Denied insurance claims from his healthcare company that resulted in deaths. That last one hit hardest. Because buried in those denied claims, Wren found a name that made her stomach drop. Eleanor Thorne, Cal's grandmother, stage 3 breast cancer, denied treatment 7 times, labeled experimental even though it was FDA approved. Appeals rejected by the same claims adjuster, a man who worked directly for Carmichael Healthcare Management. Eleanor Thorne had died because Roland Carmichael's company prioritized profit over lives. Systematically, deliberately, legally. Wren stared at the file for an hour, not moving, not breathing, just processing the weight of it. Cal had given her his coat, his grandmother's last gift, had almost died to save a stranger. And that grandmother had been killed by the same man whose son had tried to murder Wren. The connections were too perfect, too cruel, Too personal to be coincidence. Rook had found her still staring at the screen. You okay, no? This is Cal's grandmother. I know. Are you going to tell him? Yes, he deserves to know. But not yet. Not until I have everything. Not until I'm ready to move. Because once Cal knew, there'd be no going back. His rage would be justified. His desire for revenge would be understandable. And Wren needed him to channel that into something productive, something legal, something that would actually destroy Carmichael instead of just giving the senator ammunition to destroy them. Telling Cal was the hardest thing Wren had ever done. It was winter again, almost exactly 1 year after the blizzard. They sat in Havoc's office. Cal had just finished a shift in the garage, grease under his fingernails, hair pulled back, looking more like a prospect every day. I need to tell you something. Wren's voice shook despite her best efforts. Cal looked up, concerned. What's wrong? Your grandmother's death, it wasn't just bad luck. What do you mean? She showed him the files, every page, every denied claim, every appeal, the pattern, the profit motive, the man responsible. Cal read in silence. His expression didn't change, but his hands trembled, the pages shook. When he finally spoke, his voice was hollow, empty. He killed her, slowly, legally. Yes. How long have you known? 3 months. Cal's jaw tightened. Why didn't you tell me? Because I needed to be sure. Because I needed to have everything. Because I knew once you found out you'd want to do something about it. Damn right I want to do something about it. Cal stood, paced, energy crackling off him like electricity. That bastard denied her treatment 7 times. 7, she begged them. I have her letters. She begged for help, and they said no because it cost too much. Because saving her life would cut into their profit margin. His voice broke. He turned away so Wren wouldn't see the tears. She died owing $40,000. Died afraid and in pain because some insurance adjuster decided her life wasn't worth the expense. And that adjuster worked for Carmichael. I know. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to destroy him. Through the law, through evidence, through justice. Cal spun around. Justice? He's a senator. He's got money. He's got power. Men like him don't face justice. They do when you build a case they can't escape. When you have evidence they can't bury. When you go public in a way that makes it impossible to ignore. Wren stood, met his eyes. I've been building that case for a year. Your grandmother is part of it. Connor is part of it. 3 other deaths are part of it. Cartel money. Campaign finance fraud. A pattern of corruption spanning 2 decades. How long for what until we can take him down? I'm 17, starting Michigan law next year. I need time to learn, to understand the system, to build connections, to become someone prosecutors will listen to. Wren's voice went hard, determined. But I promise you, Callum Thorne, I will take Roland Carmichael down. For your grandmother, for my uncle, for everyone he's hurt, and I'll do it the right way so he stays down. Cal stared at her. This girl, this 16-year-old who'd almost died in a parking lot, who'd turned that near death into purpose, into mission, into something bigger than revenge. How long? However long it takes. Cal nodded slowly. Then I'll wait. I'll learn. I'll work. And when you're ready, I'll testify. I'll tell the world what his company did to my grandmother. Wren felt tears burn her eyes. She crossed the room, hugged him, fierce, grateful. We're going to win this. Yeah. Cal hugged her back. We are. Outside, snow began to fall. The first of the season, exactly 1 year after the blizzard that had changed everything. Across town, Griffin Carmichael hit bottom. Expelled from school, lost his hockey scholarship. His parents had filed for divorce. His father refused his calls. His mother had moved to Arizona, and Griffin was using pills at first, to numb the guilt, to forget the image of that girl's blue lips. The cheerleader he'd left to die. Wren. No Sarah, no, he didn't even know her real name. Pills became heroin when the pills stopped working. Heroin became debt when his trust fund got frozen. Debt became $50,000 to dealers who didn't forgive, didn't forget, didn't care about his last name. Griffin lived in a motel on 8 Mile, roaches in the corners, stains on the sheets, water that ran brown. This was what his life had become, rock bottom, and he was still falling. His phone rang, unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. Griffin Carmichael, who's asking someone who knows what you did, someone who knows about the girl in the parking lot. Griffin's blood went cold. What do you want the truth? About your father? About what he ordered you to do? I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. You left Ren Ashford to die because your father wanted to send a message to Havoc, wanted to show the Hells Angels that nobody crosses him, not even his son's ego. Silence. Long, loaded. Who is this someone who can help you or destroy you? Your choice. The line went dead. Griffin stared at his phone, shaking. The truth was out. Someone knew. And if one person knew, others would find out. His father would find out. And his father didn't tolerate failure. 3 days later, Griffin called Ren. He didn't know her number. Had to get it from Rook. Had to leave 3 messages begging for contact. But finally, she called back. What do you want, Griffin? Her voice was ice, hatred barely controlled. To tell you the truth, about that night, about my father, I already know the truth. You tried to kill me because I said no to winter formal. That's part of it. But there's more. Griffin took a breath, steadied himself. My father knew who you were, knew you were Havoc's daughter. He'd been watching you for months, waiting for an opportunity to send a message. What kind of message? That he's untouchable, that he can hurt anyone, even the daughter of the Hells Angels president, and nobody can touch him. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm dying anyway. Pills, debt, doesn't matter. Maybe I can do one good thing before I go. Ren was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was different, softer, curious. What do you want to testify? Against my father, about Connor, about the cartel money, about everything. Why would I believe you? Because you know it's true, because you've been investigating him for a year, because you need someone on the inside to corroborate what you've found. How do you know what I've been doing? Rook's good, but my father's better. He knows you're building a case. He just doesn't know how much you have. Griffin's voice dropped. Urgent now. I can give you more. Financial records, recorded conversations, proof that he ordered Connor's death, proof that he's been taking cartel money for 20 years. In exchange for what? Nothing. I don't want a deal. I don't want forgiveness. I just want to do one thing right before this all ends. Ren thought about it. Every instinct said don't trust him. He tried to kill you. He's a liar. He's desperate. But another part of her, the part that had learned from Cal, said people can change. People can choose good even when they've done terrible things. Second chances matter. I'll think about it. That's all I'm asking. The line went dead. Ren sat in the silence of her room, thinking, planning, weighing options. Griffin Carmichael was offering her the key to destroying his father, the evidence she needed, the testimony that would seal the case. But could she trust him? She'd ask Cal. He'd know. He always knew. 18 months after the blizzard, Cal became a full member of the Hells Angels. The vote was unanimous. Even Flint, who tested him harder than anyone, stood up in church and spoke. Callum Thorne came to us with nothing. He'd given everything away to save Havoc's daughter. Over 18 months, he's proven himself. Worked harder than any prospect I've seen. Learned faster. Showed loyalty. Kept his mouth shut when cops came asking questions. Stood his ground when civilians gave him trouble. Flint looked around the table. At every member. At Havoc. Phoenix earned his place. I move we patch him in. The vote was called. Hands went up. Every single one. Havoc stood, walked to Cal, held out a leather vest, the cut, the symbol of membership. Freedom and brotherhood stitched into worn leather. Welcome to the family, Phoenix. Cal took the vest, felt the weight of it, not just leather and patches. History, legacy, belonging. He put it on. And for the first time since his grandmother died, Callum Thorne felt like he had a home. The celebration lasted all night. Brothers clapping his back, Iris crying and hugging him, Ren smiling so wide her face hurt. But at midnight, Cal's phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. Callum, help. Please help. The voice was barely recognizable. Weak, terrified. But Cal knew it. Griffin, I'm sorry for everything. I'm so sorry. Tell Phoenix I'm sorry. What's going on, pills? Too many. I can't do this anymore. Video call request came through. Cal accepted. The screen showed Griffin on a motel bed, pills scattered everywhere, empty vodka bottles, blood on his wrists. Not deep, but there, Griffin. Stay with me. Where are you? Griffin mumbled an address. The Starlight Motel, room 12. Cal was already moving, grabbing his jacket, his keys, his phone. I'm coming. Don't take any more pills. Just breathe. Stay awake. He burst into the main room. Ren was there, saw his face. What's wrong, Griffin? Suicide attempt. I have to go. I'm coming with you. They took Cal's bike. New, black, fast. A gift from the club for making full member. They hit 80 on surface streets, 90 on the highway, made it to the motel in 12 minutes. Room 12, door unlocked, and Griffin on the bed exactly where he'd been on video. Unconscious now, breathing shallow. Call 911. Cal moved fast, checking vitals, clearing Griffin's mouth, positioning him on his side so he wouldn't choke. Ren was already on the phone, giving the address, describing the situation. Paramedics were coming. Why are we helping him? She asked after hanging up. After everything he did, Cal looked at Griffin. This broken boy, this monster, this human, because he's dying. And we're better than him. The ambulance arrived. Paramedics pumped Griffin's stomach, loaded him up, rushed him to the hospital. Cal and Ren followed, waited in the emergency room. 3 hours until a doctor came out. He'll live. Stomach's been pumped. Psychiatrist will evaluate him in the morning. You saved his life. The doctor left. Ren looked at Cal. I don't understand you. What he tried to kill me, and you just saved his life. Why? Cal thought about his grandmother, about her story, about the man on the sidewalk, about choosing kindness even when it hurt. Because that's who I want to be, someone who helps, even when they don't deserve it. Ren nodded slowly. Okay, but I'm not forgiving him. I'm not asking you to. Cal stood. I'm just saying people can change if we give them the chance. They left the hospital, snow falling, winter come full circle. And somewhere in that emergency room, Griffin Carmichael got a second chance he'd never expected. Whether he'd use it was up to him. 2 weeks later, Griffin called Ren again. From rehab this time. 8 days sober, shaking but alive. I meant what I said. About testifying, about giving you what you need. Why should I trust you? Because I don't have anything left to lose. My father destroyed me, destroyed my life, used me as a weapon and then threw me away. Maybe if I help you destroy him, that's worth something. Ren thought about it, Cal's words echoing. People can change if you give them the chance. Okay, I'll meet with you. But if this is a trick, it's not. I swear. They met 3 days later, a coffee shop in Midtown. Neutral ground. Rook watched from across the street, making sure it was safe. Griffin looked terrible. Gaunt, shaking, eyes hollow but sober. Clear, present in ways he hadn't been in months. He slid a flash drive across the table. What's this everything? Financial records from my father's campaign. Emails about Connor. Recorded phone calls between my father and his enforcer. Proof of cartel payments. All of it. Ren stared at the drive. This was it. The evidence she needed. Why? Because he ordered me to kill you. Because when I failed, he cut me off. Told me I was an embarrassment. That I destroyed everything he built. Griffin's voice shook. I was his son, and he threw me away like I was nothing. He leaned forward, urgent now. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But maybe if I help you put him in prison, that's one good thing. One thing that matters. Ren took the drive, felt the weight of it. This tiny piece of plastic held the power to destroy a senator, to avenge Connor, to give Eleanor justice, to change everything. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. My father's dangerous. He'll come after you, after your family, after everyone you love. Let him try. Ren stood. We'll be ready. She left. Griffin watched her go, and for the first time in his life, he felt something like hope. A month later, everything exploded. Ren held a press conference. nearly 17 years old, standing in front of cameras and reporters and city officials. A lawyer beside her, evidence binders stacked on the table. Her hands shook, but her voice was steady. My name is Ren Ashford. I'm nearly 17 years old. 14 months ago, Griffin Carmichael and 3 others left me to die in a parking lot. Temperature was 15 below zero. I was in a cheerleading uniform. They took my phone. They took my keys. They left me to freeze because I said no to winter formal. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled. The city held its breath. I survived because a homeless 17-year-old named Callum Thorne gave me his coat, his grandmother's coat, the only thing keeping him alive. He walked into that blizzard with nothing. He almost died. Ren held up a folder. Security footage. This video shows Griffin Carmichael assaulting me. Text messages show him planning it. Witness testimony confirms he did it on his father's orders. Another folder. Thicker. Senator Roland Carmichael murdered my Uncle Connor Ashford in 1999. Cut his brake lines. Staged an accident. Closed the case as the district attorney. He did this because my uncle witnessed him taking cartel money. She held up a third folder. The thickest. Senator Carmichael's healthcare company systematically denied life-saving treatment to maximize profit. 247 denied claims in 10 years. 18 deaths resulted, including Eleanor Thorne, Callum's grandmother, who died of cancer because treatment was labeled experimental when it wasn't. Ren looked directly into the cameras. No fear now, only purpose. I'm nearly 17 years old. I'm filing a formal complaint with the state attorney general. I'm providing evidence of murder conspiracy, healthcare fraud campaign, finance violations, and attempted murder. I'm asking for a full investigation. She paused. Let the weight settle. Senator Carmichael thinks he's untouchable, that his money and power protect him. He's wrong, because I'm not afraid, and I'm not stopping until he's in prison. The press conference ended. The video went viral within hours. By morning, every news station in Michigan was covering it. By afternoon, national outlets picked it up. Teen girl versus corrupt senator. David versus Goliath. The daughter of a biker taking on the establishment. Back at the clubhouse, the celebration was muted. Everyone knew what came next. War. Not with fists or bikes or guns, but with lawyers and investigators and a senator who had decades of power to wield. Havoc called an emergency church meeting that night. Ren's press conference changes everything. Carmichael knows we're coming for him now. He'll strike back, hard. How hard, Shade asked. However hard it takes to destroy us. Havoc looked around the table. At every brother, at Cal, at Ren sitting in the back. This isn't just about justice anymore. It's about survival. If we lose this fight, Carmichael buries us, makes examples of us, uses his power to tear this club apart. Then we don't lose. Flint's voice was ice, but there was tension in the room. Pressure, fear masked as bravado, and then Grit spoke up. The oldest member, the one everyone respected. I have concerns about whether we should be doing this at all. Grit looked at Havoc. No disrespect, brother, but we're a motorcycle club. We fix bikes, we ride, we take care of our own. Going to war with a senator? That's suicide. Murmurs of agreement. Some brothers nodding. He tried to kill my daughter. Havoc's voice went hard. And that's terrible. It is. But is revenge worth destroying everyone else? Our families, our businesses, everything we've built? More nods. More murmurs. Flint stood. This isn't revenge. It's justice. Call it what you want. The end result is the same. We fight Carmichael, we lose everything. Havoc looked around the table. Saw the division, the fear, the calculation. Vote. All in favor of continuing the fight against Carmichael, supporting Ren's case using club resources to protect our family. Hands went up. Havoc, Flint, Sawbones, Shade, Rook, Cal, 6, all opposed. More hands. Grit, Axel, 4 others, 6. The room went silent. A tie. In 20 years of leading this club, Havoc had never seen a tied vote on something this important. As president, I have to break the tie. Havoc stood, looked at every brother, at Ren in the back, trying not to cry. I choose my daughter. I choose justice. We finish what we started. Grit stood. Then I respectfully resigned my membership. The room erupted. voices overlapping, some shouting support for Grit, others calling him a coward. Havoc raised his hand, silence fell. Anyone else want to walk? Three brothers stood. Axel. Two others counted in Noel. We're with Grit, this isn't our fight. Then leave your cuts and go. They did, one by one, placing their vests on the table. Walking out, the club hemorrhaging members because Havoc chose his daughter over their safety. When the door closed, 10 brothers remained. Havoc, Flint, Sawbones, Shade, Rook, Grit's assistant, three others, and Cal. We're smaller now. Havoc's voice was steady despite everything. But we're stronger because everyone here chose to stay knowing the cated. He looked at Ren. She was crying now, silent tears, guilt written across her face. This isn't your fault, baby girl. These men made their choice, just like we made ours. But no buts. We're family. Family fights together, no matter the cost. The meeting ended. Brothers filtered out. Cal stayed back. So did Ren. Havoc sat alone at the head of the table, looking older than Cal had ever seen him. I just destroyed my club. No, Ren crossed to him. You saved it. The ones who left, they weren't really family. Family doesn't abandon you when things get hard. Havoc pulled her into a hug. When'd you get so wise? I had a good teacher. Cal watched them, father and daughter, broken but unbroken, scared but sure. And he knew in that moment they'd win this fight. Not because they were stronger, not because they had more resources, but because they refused to quit, refused to bow, refused to let fear dictate their choices. Senator Roland Carmichael had money and power and decades of corruption, but they had something he'd never understand. They had each other, and that was enough. The trial began on a Tuesday in August 2021, 6 months after Ren's press conference set Michigan on fire. 6 months of media circus, death threats, and watching her father's brothers form a wall around her every time she stepped outside. The courthouse in downtown Detroit was a fortress. Metal detectors, armed guards, protesters on both sides. People with signs reading "Justice for Connor and Carmichael is innocent in Hell's Angels or criminals." The whole city had chosen sides. Nobody stayed neutral. Ren was 17, still too young to vote, old enough to testify against a senator. Cal sat 3 rows back, 19 years old now, leather cut on his shoulders, phoenix stitched across the back. He'd grown into it over the past year, filled out, not the skeletal homeless kid anymore. Muscles from garage work, confidence from brotherhood. But his eyes still held that same quality, that goodness, that refusal to become hard. Havoc sat beside him. The whole club filled the courtroom. 10 brothers, smaller than before but stronger, silent, watchful, showing support without saying a word. Griffin Carmichael sat on the opposite side, alone. His mother hadn't come. His father wouldn't look at him, 10 months sober. Prison counseling had done what wealth never could. Stripped away the entitlement, left just a broken kid trying to do one right thing. The charges were extensive. First-degree murder conspiracy in Connor Ashford's death. Attempted murder through Griffin's actions against Ren. Healthcare fraud resulting in 18 deaths. Campaign finance violations. Racketeering. Money laundering. 20 years of crimes compressed into a 3-week trial. The prosecution had everything. Rook's digital forensics, ghost testimony, Raven's witness account, financial records showing cartel payments, recorded phone calls between Carmichael and his enforcer discussing Connor, security footage of Griffin's assault, medical records of every denied claim. But the defense was good. Expensive. They painted Ren as a vengeful biker princess, painted Connor as a criminal who got what criminals get, painted the denied claims as standard business practice, painted everything as coincidence or justifiable or completely fabricated. Day 3, Ren took the stand. She wore a simple blue dress, hair pulled back, no makeup, looking younger than 17. Vulnerable. Exactly what her lawyer wanted the jury to see. State your name for the record. Ren Elizabeth Ashford. How old are you? 17. I'll be 18 in 3 months. Tell us what happened on December 18th, 2019. Ren took a breath, looked at the jury. 12 faces, 6 men, 6 women. judges ranging from 25 to 70, all watching her. She told the story, every detail. Griffin's proposition, her refusal, the assault, being locked in the car, driven to the lot, stripped of phone and keys, left to die in cheerleading uniform in 15 below weather. Her voice stayed steady until she got to Cal. I was dying. I knew I was dying. My body had stopped shivering. That's late-stage hypothermia. I learned that in nursing class. When you stop shivering, you're minutes from cardiac arrest. What happened next? Callum Thorne found me. He was the night janitor, 17 years old, homeless, living in an abandoned building. He heard me screaming. He came running. What did he do? He gave me his coat, his grandmother's coat, the only thing protecting him from the cold. He wrapped it around me, stayed with me until my father arrived. Then he walked into that blizzard wearing just a t-shirt. Why would he do that? Because I was dying faster than he was. Her voice cracked. The first crack in 3 days of testimony. He gave away everything to save a stranger, and he almost died because of it. My father found him collapsed 2 miles away. Core temperature, 28 degrees. Another hour and we'd have lost him. The courtroom was silent. Even the defense lawyer didn't object. Ms. Ashford, why do you believe Griffin Carmichael left you in that parking lot? Because his father ordered him to. Objection. Speculation. The judge looked at Wren. Do you have evidence of this? Yes, Your Honor. Griffin Carmichael told me himself. He called me 2 months after the incident. He confessed that his father knew who I was, knew I was Havoc Ashford's daughter, wanted to send a message. What kind of message? That he's untouchable, that he can hurt anyone, even the daughter of the Hells Angels president, and nobody can stop him. Did you record this conversation? Yes. The recording played, Griffin's voice, shaking, desperate, confessing everything. The jury listened, faces hardening. This wasn't speculation anymore. This was confession. Cross-examination was brutal. The defense lawyer was 50-something, sharp suit, sharper tongue. She approached Wren like a predator approaching prey. Ms. Ashford, you expect this jury to believe that a sitting United States senator ordered his son to murder a teenage girl. I expect this jury to look at the evidence. You're the daughter of a known criminal organization leader. My father runs a motorcycle club. They're not criminals. The Hells Angels have been linked to drug trafficking, weapons smuggling, and violent crimes across the country. Objection. Relevance. Sustained. The lawyer smiled, shifted tactics. You've been investigating Senator Carmichael for over a year, correct? Yes. Obsessively, thoroughly. You've hired private investigators, hacked into private computer systems, harassed witnesses. I've conducted a legal investigation with proper oversight. You're 17 years old. What qualifies you to investigate a murder? The fact that nobody else would. The fact that the man who killed my uncle became a senator. The fact that justice matters regardless of age. The lawyer's smile widened. Isn't it true that you have a personal vendetta against Senator Carmichael? That this entire case is motivated by revenge rather than justice? Wren leaned forward, looked the lawyer dead in the eye. My Uncle Connor was murdered 20 years ago. Senator Carmichael cut his brake line, staged an accident, and closed the investigation as district attorney. He did this because Connor witnessed him taking cartel money. She didn't break eye contact. Callum Thorne's grandmother was denied cancer treatment 7 times by Senator Carmichael's healthcare company. She died owing $40,000 because treatment was labeled experimental when it was FDA approved. She died in pain because profit mattered more than lives. Her voice rose. Just slightly. Just enough. Griffin Carmichael left me to freeze to death on his father's orders. I flatlined in the ambulance. I was dead for 90 seconds. I'm only alive because a homeless kid gave me his grandmother's coat. Wren stood. The judge didn't stop her. So yes, this is personal. Justice is always personal when it's your family that's been destroyed, when it's your life that was nearly taken, when it's your city that's been corrupted by a man who thinks power makes him untouchable. She pointed at Senator Carmichael. He sat stone-faced, unmoving, but something flickered in his eyes. Fear. I'm not motivated by revenge. I'm motivated by the truth. And the truth is that Roland Carmichael is a murderer, a fraud, a criminal who spent 20 years hiding behind a Senate seat. Wren sat down. The courtroom exploded. Judge hammering for order, defense screaming for mistrial, prosecution objecting to the objection. But the jury had seen it, that moment, that fire, a 17-year-old girl staring down power and refusing to blink. Cal testified on day 7. He wore jeans and a button-down shirt, no leather cut, no club symbols, just a 19-year-old kid who'd survived hell and come out the other side. State your name. Callum James Thorne. People call me Cal. Tell us about your grandmother. Cal's hands tightened on the armrests. This was the hard part. The part he'd been dreading. Eleanor Thorne. She raised me after my mom died. Worked 3 jobs to keep us fed. Taught me to fix things. To be good. To care about people. What happened to her cancer? Breast cancer. Stage 3. Caught early enough that treatment would have worked. Would have saved her. Did she receive treatment? No. Her insurance denied it. Called it experimental, even though the treatment was FDA approved. Standard protocol for her type of cancer. How many times did she appeal? 7. 7 times she wrote letters begging for help. 7 times she explained that she was dying, that she had a grandson who needed her. 7 times they said no. Cal's voice cracked. He didn't hide it, didn't apologize for it. She died 8 months before that blizzard. Died owing $40,000. Died in pain because someone decided saving her life would cost too much. Who made that decision? The claims adjuster worked for Carmichael Healthcare Management, Senator Carmichael's company, the same company that denied 247 life-saving treatments in 10 years. 18 people died because of those denials. How did that make you feel? Angry, helpless, like the world was designed to destroy people like us. Poor people, invisible people, people who don't matter to men like Senator Carmichael. Cal looked at the jury, made eye contact with each one. But my grandmother taught me something. She said being good isn't about what you have. It's about what you give, even when it costs everything. Is that why you gave Wren Ashford your coat? Yes. She was dying. I had something she needed. The choice was simple. You almost died, I know, but I'm alive. And so is she. That matters more than anything Senator Carmichael's company took from my grandmother. Cross-examination tried to paint Cal as a disgruntled kid looking for someone to blame. But he didn't take the bait. Stayed calm, stayed honest, stayed himself. The defense couldn't shake him, couldn't make him angry, couldn't turn him into something he wasn't. By the time Cal stepped down, 3 jurors were crying. Griffin testified on day 12. He'd lost weight in prison, looked older, haunted. The golden boy who'd terrorized hallways and ruled parties was gone. Left just a 22-year-old who'd done terrible things and was trying to make them right. He told everything. His father's order, the planning, the assault, the laughter as they drove away. The moment he realized what he'd done and couldn't take it back. Why did you do it? Because my father asked. Because I was raised to believe that people like Wren didn't matter. That her father was a criminal and she deserved whatever happened. Because I was entitled and cruel and thought I was untouchable. Griffin looked at Wren. She sat in the gallery. Wouldn't look at him. I was wrong about everything. I tried to kill her. I nearly succeeded. And I've spent every day since trying to figure out how to live with that. Have you spoken with Ms. Ashford since your arrest once? To tell her the truth. To offer testimony against my father. I didn't ask for forgiveness because I don't deserve it. What do you deserve? Prison. Punishment. A chance to do something right before I die. The cross-examination tried to discredit him, accused him of lying to get a lighter sentence. But Griffin's testimony was backed by recordings, phone calls between him and his father, text messages planning the assault, financial records showing payments to his friends. The defense couldn't break it, couldn't explain it away. By day 12, Senator Carmichael's armor had shattered. Closing arguments took 2 days. The prosecution laid out 20 years of crimes, pattern and practice, motive and opportunity. Evidence so overwhelming it was almost redundant. The defense tried to create reasonable doubt, tried to paint everything as circumstantial, tried to make the jury believe that a senator, a man who'd spent decades in public service, couldn't possibly be guilty of such things. But the jury had seen Wren, had heard Cal, had listened to Griffin's confession, had reviewed the evidence. Deliberation took 16 hours. The verdict came down on a Friday afternoon. August 27th, 2021. Ren sat between her father and Cal, heart hammering, hands shaking. This was it. Everything she'd worked for. Everything Connor and Eleanor and 18 other victims deserved. The jury foreman stood. Older man, looked like someone's grandfather. Kind eyes, steady hands. On the charge of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and the death of Connor Ashford. We find the defendant guilty. The courtroom erupted. Judge hammering for order. Havoc grabbed Ren's hand, squeezed so hard it hurt. On the charge of attempted murder through proxy. We find the defendant guilty. On the charge of healthcare fraud resulting in death. We find the defendant guilty. Guilty, guilty, guilty. 18 counts, 18 guilty verdicts. Senator Roland Carmichael sat motionless. His expensive lawyers shuffled papers. His political career ended in real time. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. 25 years federal prison. No parole for 15. Financial restitution to victims' families. Forfeiture of all assets derived from criminal activity. Griffin received 18 months prison for assault, 5 years probation, mandatory addiction treatment. The deal for his testimony. Light considering what he'd done, but enough to matter. Outside the courthouse, Ren stood before cameras again. No longer the scared 17-year-old. Something else now, something harder, something sure. Justice was served today, not just for me, not just for Connor or Eleanor or the 18 others, for everyone who's been told they don't matter. That power makes people untouchable. That fighting back is pointless. She looked directly into the cameras. Roland Carmichael is going to prison for 25 years. He'll die there. And every person who thinks money and influence put them above the law should take note, because I'm not stopping. This is just the beginning. The questions came fast. What's next? Will you run for office? Are the Hells Angels planning retaliation? She ignored them all. Walked to the car where Cal waited. Havoc driving, the club forming a barrier between her and the chaos. Inside the car, silence, then Ren started crying. Not sad tears, relief, release. 3 years of pressure finally breaking. Cal didn't say anything, just held her. Let her cry. Havoc drove through Detroit streets toward home. They'd won. Against a senator. Against the system. Against power itself. A 17-year-old girl and a 19-year-old mechanic had brought down someone everyone said was untouchable. Uncle Connor could rest now. Eleanor could rest now. And Ren could finally breathe. 1 year passed. Ren was 18. First semester at Michigan Law. Top of her class because of course she was. Years of studying for this. Preparing. Building the foundation to change systems, not just fight them. Cal was 20, finished his associate degree in mechanical engineering, working full-time at the club garage. Grit's replacement had officially made him lead mechanic. Youngest in club history, he had a gift. Everyone saw it. Machines responded to him, spoke to him, trusted him. They met for coffee on a Saturday afternoon. Downtown Detroit. The old laundromat where Cal had lived was being demolished. Wrecking ball swinging, walls crumbling, making way for something new. That's where I survived for 8 months. Cal stared at the building, no emotion in his voice. Just statement of fact. I slept on concrete, used cardboard for blankets, stole food when I had to. Thought I'd die there, but you didn't. No, Ren saved me. Your family saved me. That building doesn't matter anymore. Ren watched the demolition, thinking, what if we built something there? Something that means other kids don't have to choose between surviving and saving someone else, like what a shelter. For homeless youth, beds, meals, education support, job training, medical care, everything I had, everything you didn't. Cal turned to look at her, really look. You're serious, completely. We took down Carmichael, we got justice, now we do something bigger. We make sure his victims' deaths mean something. What would we call it? Ren smiled. Phoenix House. Named after you. After what you became when you rose from that snow. Cal felt something shift in his chest. Purpose, direction. Everything his grandmother had wanted for him. Helping people. Making a difference. Being good in ways that lasted. How do we pay for it? The settlement money. Carmichael's assets were seized, distributed to victims' families. That includes Eleanor's estate. Includes Connor's survivors. That's us. We use it to build something that helps hundreds instead of just us. When do we start now? They started that week. Wren handled legal paperwork, nonprofit status, zoning permits, building codes, all the bureaucracy that made projects die before they began. But she'd learned from taking down a senator. Paperwork was just another kind of fight. Cal handled design, worked with architects who donated time, planned 50 beds, commercial kitchen, computer lab, medical clinic, counseling offices, recreation space, everything he'd wished for when he was invisible and alone. Fundraising shocked them. Wren's press conference from a year ago still circulated. The girl who took down a senator. The homeless kid who gave away his coat. Their story resonated. Donations poured in. $3 million in 6 months. More than enough. The club helped. Grit's replacement did the mechanical systems. Sawbones set up the medical clinic. Iris organized the kitchen. Flint trained security staff. Everyone contributed. Everyone believed. Construction took 18 months. Wren balanced law school and site visits. Cal balanced garage work and contractor meetings. They built it together. Brick by brick, dream into reality. 3 years after the trial, Phoenix House opened its doors. December 24th, 2024. 5 years almost to the day since the blizzard. Wren was 20, Cal was 22, and they stood in front of a building that would save lives. The opening ceremony drew hundreds. City officials, shelter directors, social workers, press, and filling the back rows every member of the Hells Angels Detroit chapter. Cuts gleaming, silent support. Griffin Carmichael came. 3 years sober, running a youth outreach program, helping kids from broken homes. He stood apart from the crowd, didn't expect acknowledgement, just came to witness what his confession had helped build. Wren saw him, nodded once. Not forgiveness, not friendship, just recognition that people could change if given the chance. Cal stood at the podium, Phoenix stitched across his cut. The boy who'd been invisible, now visible to everyone. 5 years ago, I had nothing. No home, no family, no future. I slept on concrete in that building that used to be right there. He pointed to the empty lot adjacent to Phoenix House. I was 17, alone, convinced the world had forgotten me. Then I heard someone screaming, a girl dying in a blizzard, and I made a choice. I gave her my grandmother's coat, gave away my only protection, walked into that storm knowing I'd probably die. Cal's voice stayed steady, strong. That choice should have killed me. Instead, it gave me everything. Wren's father found me, brought me to the clubhouse, gave me a family, gave me purpose, taught me that being good matters more than being safe. He looked at Wren. She stood beside him. Ready. Now it's her turn. Wren stepped to the microphone. Leather jacket over a blue dress. Biker princess and law student. Both? Neither. Something entirely her own. 5 years ago, I was left to die in a parking lot. Temperature 15 below. My heart stopped for 90 seconds. I should have brain damage or worse. But I'm standing here because Callum Thorne chose kindness over survival. Her voice carried. Clear. Certain. That coat saved my life. But it did more than that. It showed me what sacrifice looks like. What love looks like. What it means to be good when being good costs everything. Wren gestured to the building behind her. Warm lights glowing in every window. Eleanor Thorne taught Cal to be good. Cal taught me to fight for what's right. Now we're teaching others. Every kid who walks through these doors will have what Cal didn't. Warmth, safety, family, a chance. Cal stepped beside her. Together they spoke. Alternating. Unified. Wren, this is Eleanor's legacy. Cal, this is Connor's legacy. Wren, this is justice made real. Cal, this is kindness made permanent. Together, this is Phoenix House, where ashes become fire, where invisible becomes seen, where one coat saved one life and that life saved hundreds more. The crowd erupted. Applause, tears, even hardened bikers wiped their eyes. Havoc stood in the front row, arm around Iris, face proud. After the ceremony, people filed through. Donors, officials, press, everyone wanting to see inside, to witness what hope looked like in brick and mortar. Cal stood near the entrance, greeting people, shaking hands, still uncomfortable with attention but learning to accept it. A girl approached, maybe 14, thin, defensive, haunted eyes that Cal recognized immediately. He'd worn those eyes for 8 months. "You, Cal Thorne." "Yeah, people call me Phoenix. I'm Mackenzie. Social worker said I should come here. Said you help kids like me." "We do. You hungry always?" Cal smiled. "Come on, kitchen's this way." He led her through this building, showed her the dining hall, the bedrooms, the computer lab, the counseling offices, watched her take it in, watched hope flicker in eyes that had forgotten what hope looked like. "How long you been on the streets?" "6 months. Since my mom died." "I'm sorry." "Yeah." Mackenzie shrugged. Trying to look tough, failing. "Everybody's sorry. Nobody helps. We help. That's the whole point." "Why?" "Because somebody helped me once. Now I'm passing it forward." They reached the kitchen. Iris was already there. Food laid out. Hot soup, fresh bread. The kind of meal that said you're safe here. Mackenzie ate like Cal had that first morning. 3 plates, 4. Not tasting, just consuming. Making up for lost time. "When did you eat last yesterday?" "Found some fries in a dumpster." Cal's jaw tightened. He remembered. Remembered every moment of that hunger, that desperation, that invisibility. "You don't have to do that anymore. You've got a bed here. Meals. Whatever you need." "For how long?" "As long as it takes." Mackenzie looked at him. Really looked. Searching for the catch, the condition, the moment when kindness became transaction. She didn't find it. "Why are you doing this?" Cal thought about his grandmother, about Wren, about the coat and the blizzard and everything that came after. "Because 5 years ago I was where you are, and someone gave me a chance. Now it's your turn." Over the next weeks, Mackenzie settled in. Slowly, carefully, not trusting but wanting to. Attending school classes Phoenix House provided, eating regular meals, sleeping without fear. Cal checked on her often. Not smothering, just present. He understood the balance. Too much attention felt like surveillance. Too little felt like abandonment. One afternoon, Cal found Mackenzie in the computer lab, working on homework. She looked up when he entered. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "How'd your mom die?" "Cancer. When I was 6. Mine too. Different kind, but same result." "I'm sorry." Mackenzie nodded. "You said your grandmother raised you after." "Yeah. Until she died too. 8 months before I met Wren." "What was her name?" "Eleanor." "Eleanor Thorne." Mackenzie went pale, like she'd seen a ghost. "My mom's name was Sarah." "Sarah Thorne. Before she married my dad." Cal's stomach dropped. Thorne. That name, that connection. Too specific to be coincidence. "Where was your mom?" "From Detroit. East Side. She left when she was 19. Went to Chicago. Never talked about her family here." "Did she ever mention a son?" "A kid named Callum." "No. But she had this photo. Old. Worn. A boy. Maybe 6 years old. She'd stare at it sometimes. Cry. Never explained why." Cal's hands shook. He pulled out his phone. Found a photo of himself at 6. The last picture taken before his mom died. Showed it to Mackenzie. "This him?" Mackenzie stared. Her face crumbled. "Yeah, that's the photo. That's the boy." The room spun. Cal sat down hard. Processing. Connecting. Understanding. "Your mom was my mom. We're half siblings." Mackenzie started crying, real tears. Not the tough girl facade, just grief and shock and relief all mixed together. "I'm not alone." Cal crossed the room, pulled her into a hug. She collapsed against him, sobbing, releasing 8 years of grief and 6 months of terror. "You're not alone. You've never been alone. I just didn't know you existed." "Why didn't she tell you?" "I don't know. Maybe she thought I was better off with our grandmother. Maybe she was trying to protect you from something. Maybe she just couldn't handle raising 2 kids." Cal held her tighter. "But none of that matters now. You're here, your family, and I'm not letting go." They cried together. Brother and sister, separated by circumstances, reunited by fate in a homeless shelter, named after resurrection. Wren found them an hour later, still in the computer lab, still holding each other. Cal told her everything. Mackenzie, Sarah, the photo, the connection. Wren listened, then smiled through tears. You know what this means? What the coat saved me. That started this chain. Phoenix House opened, brought Mackenzie here, brought your sister home. Cal looked at Mackenzie. This girl, his sister, family he'd never known he had. One coat, one choice, and it gave me back my family. Wren squeezed his shoulder. That's how kindness works. It ripples. Forever. 3 months later, Phoenix House celebrated its first full quarter. 50 beds occupied, 80 kids served total, 3 placed in MUBs, 5 enrolled in community college, 22 reunited with stable family members, numbers that meant lives changed, futures saved. The celebration was small. Staff and residents, club members, city officials who'd supported them. Press came but stayed respectful. Documented without intruding. Cal stood with Mackenzie. She'd gained weight, color in her cheeks, light in her eyes. She was family now, officially. Living with Cal and Iris in the clubhouse until she graduated high school. Calling him brother, calling Havoc uncle. Belonging in ways she'd never imagined. Griffin approached, still keeping distance, still knowing his place, but wanting to acknowledge what this was, what he'd helped create by confessing. You did something amazing here. We did. Wren appeared beside Cal. All of us. You testified. That helped fund this, so you're part of it too. Griffin nodded, throat tight. I've got 41 kids in my program now. Kids from broken homes, helping them find better paths, better choices than I made. Good. Keep doing it. It doesn't make up for what I did. No, Wren's voice was firm. But it matters anyway. Keep helping people. That's how you live with what you can't undo. Griffin left. Wren and Cal watched him go. Think he'll make it? Cal asked. Yeah, I think he will. People can change if you give them the chance. You taught me that. You taught me first. They smiled. Battle-scarred, victory-worn, but whole. Together. Family in all the ways that mattered. The celebration continued. Iris unveiled a memorial wall, names engraved in bronze. Eleanor Thorne, Connor Ashford. 18 others denied treatment by Carmichael Healthcare. Forever remembered, forever honored. Their deaths given meaning through lives saved. Cal stood before his grandmother's name, traced the letters with his fingers. I did it, Grandma. I stayed good, just like you taught me. Beside Eleanor's name, Mackenzie placed flowers, for the grandmother she'd never met, the woman whose coat had saved a stranger and started a chain reaction that brought a family together. At sunset, Wren gave the closing remarks, standing on the front steps of Phoenix House, golden light bathing everything, making it look almost holy. 5 years ago, this was an abandoned lot, a place where invisible people survived. Now it's a sanctuary, a promise, a proof that one person's sacrifice can change the world. She looked at the crowd, residents, staff, family. Callum gave me his coat when he had every reason to let me die. That choice saved me. My father saved him. Our family gave him home. He gave me purpose. Together we built this. Wren's voice rose. Strong, sure. The girl who'd almost died now speaking for those who couldn't speak for themselves. But this isn't about us. It's about every kid who walks through those doors. Every person who's been told they don't matter. Every invisible soul who just needs someone to see them. She pointed to the Phoenix House sign, illuminated now against darkening sky. Phoenix rises from ashes. So can we. So can anyone. That's the promise. That's the legacy. That's what one coat on one freezing night became. Cal joined her on the steps. Mackenzie between them. Family made by choice. Family forged in fire. Together, they spoke the words that would become the Phoenix House's motto. From ashes to fire. From invisible to seen. From one to many. This is where hope lives. The crowd echoed it back. From ashes to fire. From invisible to seen. From one to many. This is where hope lives. Above them, the first snow of winter began to fall. Soft, gentle. Nothing like the blizzard 5 years ago. But a reminder, a memorial, a celebration of survival. Inside Phoenix House, 50 kids slept warm and safe. Outside, a brother and sister stood together for the first time. And somewhere in the crowd, a former enemy worked to build redemption, one helped kid at a time. The coldest nights show you who has the warmest heart. Callum Thorne had proven that truth. Ren Ashford had amplified it. Together, they'd created something that would outlive them both. One coat, one choice, one sacrifice. The ripples reached forever, touching lives they'd never meet, changing futures they'd never see, proving that kindness isn't weakness, it's revolution, it's fire, it's everything. 5 years after the blizzard, Phoenix House stood as testament, not to wealth or power or influence, but to the simple radical act of seeing another person and choosing to help. No conditions, no expectations, just good for good's sake. Eleanor Thorne would have been proud. Connor Ashford would have smiled. And every invisible kid who found warmth behind those doors would carry the lesson forward. Passing the coat, sharing the fire, building a world where freezing alone became impossible because someone always came running. That was the legacy. That was the victory. That was what happened when one homeless kid chose sacrifice over survival and one biker's daughter chose justice over revenge. They'd won. Not just the trial, not just the building. They had won something bigger, something permanent, something that would echo through decades. They had proven love was stronger than fear, that good was stronger than evil, that one person's choice to be kind could save the world. Phoenix House opened its doors, and the invisible finally came home.